Hey there, it's Derek from Pacific Coast Auto in Japan, and we're taking a look at a 2007 Toyota Blade Master. So the Blade Master is a 3.5 liter V6 version of their hatchback. Quite an interesting vehicle, and it does have an interesting story, and I'm going to get to that in just a little bit. But to start with, this one was bought from auction for export to the UK. 3.5 liter V6, it's a 2GR, pretty ubiquitous engine in a lot of different Toyota cars, and in this car puts out 276 horsepower or 274 or something. I don't know if I can do the calculation in my head, but that's 280 PS, and front wheel drive, and kind of Corolla-like, and more on that in a second. So somebody's honking their horn, but they're not coming. Okay, so engine oil is good, engine coolant is good, nothing to worry about here. Kilometers are just over 80,000. Let me just do a quick check. 84,696 at the time of auction, and I will be translating that auction sheet in just a second. It comes with leaves because it is fall here in Japan, and cedar. Cool. Engine's gonna last forever because these are in all the cars, including like Camry and minivans like the Alphard, and I think they're in the Serena and other things like that. Basically an everything Toyota engine. The reason why it's cool here is because this is, I believe, would be the smallest, lightest weight and sportiest car that engine comes in. But don't quote me on that because I don't know 100%. Okay, so I'm gonna close the engine bay here. And that closes. Excellent. Okay, I've always liked the styling of the Blade. I think it's quite a bit more aggressive than the other version of this car, which is the Toyota Auris, which might be the more popular version. The Blade was only for one generation, whereas the Auris got several generations. And this is an up model version of an Auris, basically. So 2007 Blade, I'm just going to translate this for you. Blade Master, 3.5 liter engine, auction rate 4 with an interior C. Comes with alloy wheels, those are the original ones, as well as power steering, power windows, and airbag. Original pearl paint and 84,696 kilometers. Sales point is ABS. Okay. Headliner and interior parts wear and dirty, and actually there's more wear in the inside than I would have liked for a car with 84,000 kilometers, and this really goes to show about the bidding. How can I say this? Bidding strategies of people. If you're looking to get one at the bottom 20% of cars, you're generally not going to get one until one is past other people. And so I think in this case, a lot of people, especially dealers here in Japan, who are going to be buying the majority of these, are going to see the interior of this and go, I'm not going to bid on that one because the interior is too worn. This leads this to be a lower priced car. And so people looking for a lower price and only bidding within a certain range are more likely to get a car that has wear like this. And I'll get more into details about the wear that's inside in just a sec. Okay, so steering wheel is peeling. That's actually a bit of a problem. And the exterior has various small scratches. The exterior is actually pretty good. Interior is still pretty good with just some, looks like Toyota made their interior pieces with the intent that they last 10 to 15 years before they start looking like they're worn out, so that you go and buy more Toyota cars. I don't know if it's 100%, but that's what it looks like to me because their interiors used to last longer than this. Okay, so scuff on the front bumper. A3 in this section here, like right here and here, A3. And that's about the worst damage on the car. And so it's still a good looking car. Paint is in good condition when it's washed. Right now it's super dirty. So let's do the once around. And okay, so about the history of this. So Toyota and other Japanese manufacturers like Nissan were really into this, and so was Honda. What they would do is make two versions of the same car. So everybody knows the AE86 came in both the Sprinter Trudeau and the Corolla 11. And so this is kind of like the very final version of the Sprinter Trudeau in a way, because what happened is the Corolla 11 turned into the Corolla Runx eventually, and the Corolla Runx had a sibling called the Toyota Alex, and this is the car that replaced the Toyota Alex. And so in lineage, this is where the AE86 went and where it died. And so it's on a Corolla platform, and it is a badge engineered version of a Corolla. And by badge engineering, I mean that it's the same car, but they change some things on it to make it its own car. And so you get a much more aggressive front end, As far as I know, you could only get this engine in the Blade version of it. I don't think you could in the Oris version of it. And I think both cars, the Oris and the Blade, are great looking cars. The Blade is quite aggressive, especially when it came out, and it has a very modern look nowadays with the clearish tail lights, and I think it has good proportions, and I think it's hard to explain exactly how good it looks without actually seeing them in person, especially for being a modern car, because most cars I prefer when they look something like this, flatter and wider and longer, and then this one here is kind of the opposite, but still a really good and good looking car, and still quite aggressive looking, especially with those aggressive headlights. I'm going to light the way with my aggressive headlights. Okay, so damage to it. Front bumper scuff, there's a few different things on it here and there, nothing really too terrible, nothing I want to dwell on. This badge is cloudy, and headlights have yellowed. The only damage that really is that noticeable, here's the A3, which is a large size scratch. Get a good look at that. And then big scratches along the side skirt here, but side skirts are easy to get repaired if you want to. And then a lot of the damage is on the underside here. So that's the worst of it. And then here I'm a meter away, 2 meters away, 3 meters away. You don't really notice it that much. Okay, before going into the car, I'm going to go into the back here. It has a reverse camera, which is modern and cool, I suppose. I mean, they've had them for over 15 years now, but still feels modern and cool to me. Reasonable sized trunk. I think it's bigger than a Mark IV Golf, because I had one, but the whole car is bigger than a Mark IV Golf too. This, I suppose, would be competitive to the GTI, but in a different way. Rear spoiler is stock, as well as antenna there, which you can put in whatever angle that you want your antenna to be in. If you want forward facing, you could do that. And I think that it's made so that if it gets hit, then it can pop itself back up. The paint is quite nice, and it's not something you're going to be able to see in the video, but it's got this kind of bluish, kind of pearlescent, really good looking. You can get these in four-wheel drive, I don't know if I mentioned it, but not with this engine. This engine is exclusive to the front-wheel drive ones. I like the Alcantara on the door cards a lot. I think that's a really good look. In terms of the interior wear pieces that I'm talking about, notice the paint on this handle, and then the top of the steering wheel. And then the seats. The seats are a partial leather, part Alcantara, which sounds really awesome. Toyota didn't go for a terribly sporty seat. I kind of wish they would have. But they're not really something to complain about, except that on this one, the leather has cracked. And I don't know if it's real leather, but it looks like it is, because this is what real leather does. Okay. And this one as well. Usually the driver's seat will do this, because the driver's seat is the one that gets worn and sat on more. But definitely this one over here looks like sun damage or dry. Here in Japan it gets really wet in the summer and really dry in the winter, and so the fluctuations between them tend to do something to cars that other countries usually don't. And it's this kind of stuff that happens. So here, Alcantara, and all across there, Alcantara. And kind of weird looking dashboard here with the one piece that goes all the way down there and then has a little window. Okay, bad battery day. I've had 2 batteries run out on me today. And then shifting here, you shift it down to the D, and then you can do plus and minus here by Fast and Furious style, shifting 17 times. Or you can Jeremy Clarkson style and shift with those. You have a little bit of wear on here, notice the discoloration. And on a number of things, like, where's a good example? Like the folding mirror button. It's kind of, the paint is worn off. So I bet the previous owner had really dirty fingers, and then in general the car is just really dirty and in need of a wash. And smells a little bit like a doggy through the AC vents. It doesn't look like dogs. I don't see any hair or anything. Okay, gauges I think are really good looking. I like the 3D look of them, very late 90s, early 2000s look. This screen here says Blade. It like sucks in. Looks cool. Okay, headliner has this, and I love it. It's like a fluorescent, it's an LED lamp, but it's unlike any that I've ever seen before. So I think that's a cool stylistic choice. Into the back seats here. Pretty normal. You don't have a big hump there, which is weird for a car that's available in four-wheel drive, but based on Corolla chassis, and so very similar to the Corollas. I do very much like the way that the Corolla handles being a front-wheel drive car with McPherson struts. Here's what it looks like. It's cool. And there's that. And then this still has the protective plastic on it, so nobody ever took that off when it was new. Okay, easy to get in and out of. Doors are big, open wide, and it's an appropriate height for getting in and out of. Not like that car. As much as everybody likes those cars, that's an annoying car to get in and out of. Maybe I'm being a grandpa. That one's better. Because that one's mine. Okay, so to wrap this up, I think that the body is in really good condition. I'm a little bit disappointed at the amount of wear on the interior, but it's not bad. I think the price was right for the condition, and so there we have it. That is the end of the review here. If you have any questions, please let me know in the comments. We do check them, but I don't always reply to all of them because we get so many of them across all of our videos. But thank you so much for watching, and have a nice day.